If you're looking for retirement grade, but you're wanting to keep it small, stay tuned. I might have just the one for you here today. Morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bish's RV. My name is Josh, the RV Nerd, and this is the 2108 Winnebago Micro Mini. Now, this is the FBS model, which has a fixed bed up front plus a slide. There's also the TB version of this, which has a twin bed. I'll try to remember to leave a link for that in the video description. I believe there's also a Murphy bed variant of this. We're looking at it with a dinette today. There is a sofa in the slide option. So the one that we're looking at today, in a sense, can almost represent like 5 RVs, and then you can layer their FLX package on top of this, which is like their enhanced off-grid or mooch stocking package, which has more solar giant inverter to be able to like run the air conditioner for a limited time, you know, just purely off battery power and a bunch of other things. So basically everything that we shared today could represent anywhere from 5 to 10 variants of this floor plan. So they've given it a full-on facelift, and the phrase I'm kind of using on this, I'm kind of curious, do you think this thing's about to blow up, or do you think it's just a glow-up? I think it looks good. They've tweaked a couple things. There's a couple things I'm not sure about, but I'll also tell you, as a simple Midwestern boy, sometimes, you know, Martha Stewart color palettes aren't exactly my stock and trade. I'm just your friendly neighborhood RV nerd. So I'm going to stick to more telling you about the sticks and bricks of this thing, like the double Asdale walls, the Goodyear Wrangler tires, the whole lift this has, the fact that it maxes out at 5,500 pounds. It's a fantastic fit for tow package midsize pickups, so or just bigger SUVs. So like, you know, if you're looking for that last RV, but you don't want something big, you want to run around with something small, lightweight, reliable, easy to park, easy to tow, like in a national parks or whatever, this is a monstrously good option for you right here. It's not without a couple little hiccups and hangups, though. We're going to cover the good with the bad, and if you appreciate that fair look at things, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. So again, for the 23 season here, there's not a whole lot of equipment variances. These things were already very heavily equipped and pretty much loaded as far as small campers go. There's not a whole lot that you can really do in here that they haven't already done. Instead, what they did is they just kind of tried to make it look a little bit nicer. Now, it's definitely very kind of in that light, creamy, neutral tone, and you know, the camera doesn't read this properly. The camera is probably reading these cabinets as gray. It almost looks like it has a slight green tinge to it. I definitely would encourage you to review one of these in person because, you know, depending on how much light there is or is not in the camera frame in the given time, the camera can see it drastically differently. Now, I do want to start by giving them some credit here, something I don't think a lot of people think about when they look at this floor plan. You actually have some decent campsite window coverage, especially when you're sitting here, like in the dinette, you know, if you're laying in bed, basically anytime you're in the living room. Now, you don't have amazing coverage in the bathroom, but I don't know that that's really a problem. Did you catch, by the way, that full privacy shade in the entry door over there? That's one of the things I think is a nice little touch on these. And pretty much industry-wide, they're basically opening from the bottom up now, which a lot of people had been asking for and looking for. Check out the major cross breeze windows all the way across the bedroom there. That's something these micro minis have always been really well known for, is giving us some really big-sized window coverage. Now, they don't have quite enough room in here to give us a full overhead cabinet, because this is actually not quite as tall as some other little campers. It's one of the little kind of size and weight conservation things that they've applied here. I do like how they put that extra set of outlets up there, though. I could definitely find some use as a charging station for that. But over here by the headboard of the bed, under those hanging wardrobe towers, you also have some household and USB plugs, albeit only on one side of the RV and not the other. But again, with the fact that it has those plugs right there up above the bed, I think I could probably find a way to get away with that. Now, despite the fact that this is such a small box, they do still centralize their air. You might notice all these little AC vents around the RV, and every single one of these is what's called vented and louvered. They can turn and open and close individually, at least when my fingers aren't blocking it from doing that. So, you know, that's my fault. You would think after nearly 14 years of experience, I would have figured out how to avoid that. But nope. If you thought that, you'd have been wrong. You may notice this is carpetless, easy cleaning, even there in the slide out. You might notice it's a step-up slide And you like, what is that? What is that box on there? That's actually the wheel well. The other one is basically kind of masked by the kitchen effectively, but that's one of the reasons this does have that step up slide. It's because the body of the RV is so small to keep the RV so light. There's just kind of a little bit of an overlap right there. Now, this is, I don't think, the best model for like sitting indoors and watching TV, but I also kind of think that it sort of depends on like, which version of this are you getting? Are you looking at the Murphy bed? Are you looking at the twin bed? Because the Murphy bed one, the front bed can go away, and you have that extra sofa space that does face directly toward the entertainment center. That might be your, like, if you're like, oh, I don't know if I care about a Murphy bed, but I want some rainy day TV time. That could be your get out of jail free card right there. And I love this like full countertop to cabinet bottom backsplash. And I forgot to flip on a light over here, which illuminates the fact that it does lack a side splash. Like, I feel like if there was one thing I would personally ask for on these, that would probably be it right there. You know what? I'm going to give you like an up close and personal look at that. Maybe that'll help give you a little bit better idea of the color. Like, is that blue? Is it green? Like, what is that? I don't know. Anyway, let's dive into some deeper details here. Let's start with the fact that, it's a small kind of open concept couples camper, but as you can see, it does thankfully have a nice little privacy curtain right there. That's certainly a welcome find. Now that bed is, again, it's not a true queen size bed. So you're going to want to kind of keep that logged in the memory banks right there. In a small camper like this, that is painfully common. That being said, when we close the slide up and take a look at this thing in road mode in a few minutes, I think you'll actually get to see that there is likely enough room. If you wanted to put a longer mattress in this, you should still be able to close the slide and not have any issues with that. Now, the fixed bed that we're looking at, you obviously have that flip-up storage trunk down below it. The twin bed, you have, your twin storage chest, but you lose the hanging wardrobe towers. So they're, all three bed configurations kind of have a couple different things. Now, that easy up-down, no knee knock and dream dinette over there, that can fold down into a little sleeper if need be, albeit not really adult-sized. It's more child-sized or like big dog-sized or something like that. That being said, if I was your guest, I wouldn't complain if you were willing to put me up. I would sleep wherever you were willing to allow me to sleep. Although the TV is not in a bad spot for your, kind of evening viewing time here. And you might notice there's that little black pad right below the television on the bottom left of it. That's actually a wireless charge pad for your phone, which is something I use religiously myself. The cabinet space here, one thing I want to mention, you saw that extra giant drawer below that 3-burner stovetop. These models used to have an oven, and they actually phased that out, but they maintained the 3-burner stovetop, and they just maximized the storage instead. Currently, to my knowledge, they are not offering a gas oven option, but you do have a convection microwave standard on these. So they've kind of, they've gone a little bit of a different direction. I think Winnebago is often very inspired by what they're doing in their motorhomes, which I don't know that that's the wrong thing. I just don't know that it's the right thing for everybody. So I want to point that out. Sometimes what's good for one person is not good for another. Depends on how you camp. It is a big 12-volt DC compressor fridge, though, like 10.7 cubic foot on that model, I do believe. Now, back here, it's not a big camper, and it's not a deep bathroom, but it's like just deep enough that even with my long legs, my toes were just touching the door, but not in a bothersome way. Like everything it was like Mama Bear. It was just right. That's also, like if we take a look over here, you see the elbow room in that shower is fantastic, but the headroom, if you're bigger than me, because this is not a full interior height camper, it might leave a little bit of something to be desired for some folks. There's also some pretty decent storage going on over here in that bathroom space as well. I was layered up this morning, and then when I got in the RV out of the weather, that vest was just starting to sweat me out of this thing. And I needed just a little bit of a break from it there. So I said, you know what? That vest is going to pretend it's a towel on the towel bar over there. And as you can see, it has a towel bar, not an Octopus Fight Club coat hanger kind of situation. And other than that, I think we pretty much get the general idea of the interior. Let's see what she offers you going down the road. And closing the slide for road mode here, you see one of the other really awesome benefits of this floor plan. Even though it's narrow body, and even though it does have a full-size, like 4-person dinette, should you choose to bring along some guests, if you do a little bit of a sideways travel trailer two-step, the fact is you can maneuver your way all the way back here to the bathroom. You could open the refrigerator. The only thing, frankly, you really lose in transit is essentially the entertainment center and just a little bit of storage around that. You know, if you need to hop inside, you need to get to the bed. And whether you're looking at like the Murphy bed version of this, the 2108 TB twin bed version, everything that I've shared, remember, will hold true on all of these things here. Now, just because I've been filling some time, I thought it'd be kind of neat to give you a little bit of a before and after of that slide, open and closed. And it's kind of funny, from the inside of the RV, that slide doesn't look too awful big, but since it's a narrow body 7-foot wide easy towing camper, that slide actually looks pretty large from the outside. Now, once again, taking a look at the weights and the measures right there, the towability of this RV is fantastic. Again, narrow body. I think it maxes out a GVW of like 5,500 pounds. I might have glanced at the specs wrong, but I believe that's correct. You know, that opens up the door for a lot of vehicles. Then you factor in the reliability and the easier towing, not just of tandem axles, but also tandem torsion axles and suspension. So instead of a leaf spring, basically it's not truly independent like an off-road suspension. I kind of call it like pseudo-independent, but it's the same kind of suspension that like Rockwood, a lot of the Airstreams use. This is potentially one of the best riding and handling little campers you're going to be able to find out there. Now, quick note on this. By default, these have 20-pound propane tanks, but they almost always use 30-pound propane tank covers. So that can be a little bit visually misleading. If you are shopping for one of these, make sure you verify that or ask for a copy of like the MSRP build sheet. Magnet holdbacks, slam latches, and this does benefit from like a Kia-like system. Again, a lot of those big kind of premium qualities you see in like a lot of Jaycos, a lot of Rockwood, stuff like that, all wrapped up in here. But they find a way to do their own little flair on it. The charge controller, it's a little gripe. Like, it's not in a bad spot, but I do kind of wish it was more inside the RV, but space was limited, so they probably didn't have a good chance to do that. The stabilizers on this, by the way, this is all power jacks, you know, power corner stabilizers, power tongue jack, power awning, albeit not a big one, but on a small camper, I do think they gave it about the biggest awning they could have. And that giant campsite overlook window right there, you know, once again, from the outside of the RV, it doesn't look like it has great campsite window coverage, but when you're in the living cavity, wasn't too bad, was it? Now, some people prefer the fold-down stable steps. I do believe those could be applied here. There's actually this little kit. Like Grand Design uses it a lot, some toy haulers use it, where there's these two drop-down legs that can attach to the bottom of that step right there, so that if you do want a little more stability, you have it. Of course, for grilling and chilling time, we got the propane cooker hooker shooting the gas off the side right there. Now, those are Goodyear Wrangler tires as well. For a while on these models, they were using a Westlake radial, but they are using an American-made Goodyear tire now. And for years, Winnebago's offered, like if you want to put a TV on the side of this, you can basically drill into your sidewall right there. I've never had the guts to be able to do that myself. Oh, by the way, you saw in the belly of that thing when we were looking at the charge control, blue coily hose. It hooks up right there in the middle. It's cold water sprayer only, but it is a little more of a high pressure sprayer, so that if you need to do a little bit of campsite cleanup or something like that, you can do that before tracking all the gunk and the whatever else into the RV. Talk a little construction here. Our walls are aluminum framed and laminated. They are also what I call double Asdel. So they're Asdel layered on the inside and the outside. They have a 3/8 OSB walk-on roof deck. Last I knew, they were still using aluminum trusses up there. So a true all aluminum skeleton and a 5/8 tongue and groove plywood floor decking that's not going to be inclined to develop any sort of soft spots. So again, the build of this thing is very eerily reminiscent of like a big giant fifth wheel, just all wrapped up into a little bitty trailer right here, which is kind of cool. Couple other details, because of the bigger tire package, you do have some pretty decent clearance of that sewer hookup, and it is a single sewer outlet. Notice how all of our hookups are in one spot. That is one of those things, if you've never camped, you don't realize how useful that is, because so many RVs don't have that. Like, a lot of people just don't know that's a thing. And on the back over here, our spare tire, one thing I want to mention, that is still a Westlake, so that's kind of like a, if you do have a flat on one of your main tires, that'll get you to your destination, then you want to probably swap that back out. And then down below here, you see we do have a 2-inch receiver hitch, which is very cool, so that you don't have to worry about, you know, could you potentially put a bike rack on the bumper? Yeah, but the muckety-muck corporate bean counters don't want you doing that. Now, while we're over here, let's take a look up on that walkable roof. I like how that ladder sticks way up over the roof line, by the way. By default, this will now have a 200-watt solar package instead of 190, but that's more the supplier, Go Power, making an update rather than Winnebago. But remember, this is also available in the Flex edition, the FLX edition, and I've got a full video, basically, on a very similar model in a full FLX package. If you really want to dive into that, check the link in the video description to learn a little bit more. And it occurs to me, I've failed to talk about anything below the skirt line of this RV. This RV does have an enclosed underbelly. It does feature a radiant barrier. It is a heated belly, also has holding tank heaters. Now the question naturally then, is it 4 seasons? I don't know. It might be. A lot of RVs that are, quote, 4 seasons or whatever, I don't like that phrase, obviously, but they do all the same things that I just described here. But to my knowledge, Winnebago hasn't actually temp chambered these things. They might be perfectly capable. Like, they're doing pretty much all the same things, basically, that, like, Ember's doing, and Ember has passed 0 to 100 degree testing, but Winnebago hasn't actually done the testing. And I'm not going to make a promise that they're not making, if that's fair. But I will say that I think this would be a pretty reliable extended season little camper right here, especially considering no bigger than it is inside. Maintaining your interior cabin temperature, I don't think that would be a trick, but guaranteeing that the tanks and the water lines and the belly won't freeze up below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius, well, that I can't guarantee for you. What I can guarantee is that absolutely no RV will freeze up before 32 degrees Fahrenheit, however. That's just a bit of basic science knowledge, though. Again, I'll leave you a link for the twin bed version of this in the FLX package from last year in the description. I'll also see what other kind of small campers I could wrangle up, and there's not a whole lot that's really like these, but like if you're like, listen, I like the small and the light concept, but I don't need all the fancy stuff. Winnebago's making a nice product, but I don't need all that. I got an Apex in mind for you that I think might work very nicely. So until next time, let me know what you think about this one, and if you appreciate, again, the good with the bad and everything in between, all those points of consideration, hit that subscribe button. Know that we'll always shoot you straight and treat you as fair as we can. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.